Hello listeners, it's Adrian here, and on today's show I've got a really special guest, the Another World legend himself, Eric Chahi. So please sit back and enjoy a brilliant interview with a true retro gaming legend.
Welcome to Arcade Attack. A retro gaming podcast for up to 4 players.
Welcome back, listeners. It's the Arcade Attack podcast here, of course, and I've got a really, really special guest, a real idol of mine. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but he's made one of my favourite games of all time. It's Eric Chahi. So, Eric, lovely to have you on the show.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here too.
Another World is a brilliant game. I'm going to say it off the bat. I know it's not particularly professional as an interview to say that, but it's an amazing game, and it really is a pleasure to talk to you. But before we talk about Another World, how did you first get the opportunity to get into the industry? And do you remember the first ever game you worked on?
Yes, I started in 1983, and I was 15 years old, and so I was still at school, and I was really mad about a video game and arcade game, and at that time I discovered a 8-bit computer. That was the first personal computer that were coming in France, and one of these computers was the Éric. And so I decided to create a kind of clone of Carnival, the game, the arcade game Carnival. So that was my first attempt to create a game with a game in basic language.
Yep.
And I did another game that was more original, and it was named Frog. And you manipulate a frog, and you have to throw your tongue to catch insect. And a friend of my parents, he was named Alain Blanquet, was used to work in publishing, and he say me, not computer publishing, but he say me, you can go to the Éric importer, and then maybe they will be interested by your game. And I did it, and they just bought my game. So that was great. I had my computer for the summer 83, and 2 months later I had these 2 games being published.
That must be amazing. It must have felt great seeing your creation being sold. Definitely.
Yeah, I sold it for hardware, indeed.
So you invested it to buy new computers,
yeah,
is that right?
They say me, do you want money or do you want some hardware? We have a printer, we have a gamepad. So I say, yeah, a gamepad and printer, it would be nice. So.
Oh, brilliant. That's a good decision. Were you always looking to get into that industry? Was it always something you wanted to work in, or was there other jobs that you considered?
There is some other job I was interested by. For example, it was illustration.
Yeah.
At the time, I wanted to be an illustrator, a book illustrator, fantasy illustrator. That was at the maybe 2 years before I wanted to create Another World. That was with the same era of Future War, so around 1987, 88, 89. And so I did some painting, and I developed my skill in graphics. But it's true that the game has always been the main line of creation.
No, good stuff. I'd love to know now, kind of looking on to another world, but how did you first get the opportunity to work at Delphine Software? Was that the next big step for you?
Yes, Delphine Software was a very special company in the French ecosystem of gaming creation, because Delphine Software was not a computer game company at first. At first, it is a record company, and it was a big record company because they published record like Richard Klederman. Well, it's just a broad audience of this kind of music.
Yeah.
And Paul de Senneville, who was the president of this record company, decided with some other people to try a new market, and they worked with Paul Cuisset for their first game, which was Bio Challenge, but they know nothing about gaming, so they give a full trust to Paul, and it started to work. And then during this time, I was working in a company named Ship, and it's at that time that I improved my skill, my graphic and animation skill. And then after 1 year of work at Ship, I decided to change of work, and there was this opportunity to work with Delphine, because Paul was looking for a graphic artist and an animator for his new game that was Future Wars.
Yes.
And so I go to Delphine and show my book. And first, I got a refusal because my book was not good enough. And so during 2 weeks, I worked like a crazy to create a new picture, because the picture I show was the one that I made at Ship.
Yep.
And it was mainly scanned and retouched scanned photo.
Yep.
And then I adapt the photos, and so that was not very how to say, well, that was not good. That's it.
Yes.
And so when I bring some these demos, Paul say, okay, yes, that's nice. I'm convinced to work with you. And we go together on Future Wars, and that has been a very important game for Delphine, for Paul and me, because this game goes outside France, and it goes in Europe, but also in United States, and it brings money to us. And so Delphine could hire some people, and they create their lineup of point-and-click adventure game.
Yes.
With Paul, and on my side, I had enough money to work on a new game, which is another world.
Yeah, that small game. Yeah. I'd love to know, actually, Eric, because Another World was your game completely from start to finish. You've obviously built up a big reputation, but were you given like completely free reign to take as long as you want, work on it at home, or was it like a side project, or was it actually sort of funded by Delphine?
It was funded indirectly by Delphine. It was the money that I got from Future Wars, so I have no. It was my money, so I did it on my totally independently during almost 2 years. So I had contact with Delphine, but I did not have an agreement at the beginning of the creation of a game.
Yes.
I wanted to be absolutely free to do this, and indeed, because it was exactly the same logic as the previous game have been created. I create during the 8-bit era, because I create a game, I go to different publisher and we sign a deal, but this was only when the game was done.
Yes.
And I keep this same approach for Another World. So
yes, Another World is, again, like I mentioned earlier, it just seemed to jump out when I played it. It just seemed different at the time. I remember playing it on my Amiga 600, and it was just so amazing. I'd love to know what sort of inspired you and went through your head when you came up with these amazing settings and aliens and Leicester and the whole kind of game. Was it all planned out at the start, or was it all a bit sort of evolving over the sort of 2 years?
It really evolved.
Yes.
During these 2 years. Indeed, it gets more precise during the game development.
Yes.
At the beginning, there was this idea of using polygons to create graphics. And from this idea, I have to decide the thematic.
Yeah.
And I love science fiction. And finally, I never created my own science fiction game.
Yes.
And I said I must do something around that thematic. So I imagine at the beginning of a game with the scientist going launching an experiment and going in another world. And and I create all the technology and the tool to create the animation system and the logic to create the introduction of a game. And once the introduction was done, I say, well, now where should we end up?
I love it.
And say, okay, let's say. Something really alien, something really different, and already surprising. So why not do it underwater? You just appear underwater, and that was the start of the first level. And I did the first level, and at the end of the first level, I say, okay, well, the Leicester is being tracked.
He was in jail, wasn't he? Yeah.
No, just before, when the creature was running behind Leicester.
Yes.
I say, okay, I must find something to save this guy. What should I do? Okay, other humanoid will come and shoot the creature. And so, okay, yes, but are they friendly or not? And it's like an improvisation. I imagine all the game like this, building each thing piece after piece. And so that's how the game has been created.
Amazing. I have to. The Beast is great, by the way. I think that's amazing. It scared me. I didn't know what to do. It kept getting me. I think it was absolutely incredible. Was there a point, Eric, where, because I read, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I read that this game was, there was at one point it was very kind of enclosed, and you were sort of stuck in the house. How would you feel looking back at how you felt during the time? Were you in a good place, or sort of weird place in a mental state?
Well, that was it's difficult to define it precisely, but it was a special time because first the coding was very fluent, and so everything went very well about all the technical aspect.
Yes.
But that was a really TV work, and so I was like in a bubble in some way. I made friends the weekend, but I was like in a bubble, like don't speak that much of a game, and it takes much longer time than I expected at the beginning.
Yes.
So at a point, I was not sure of how long it would take. So that was a bit scary, and it's often like that a game development. Sometimes, yeah.
What was Delphine's reaction when they saw the finished game? Were they really, really impressed, really happy? Were you? Did you know it's going to be a success, basically?
Well, they saw two things. First, they saw the introduction.
Yes.
Probably in 1990, and so they were impressed. And then I continue the development, and when it was almost done, I signed the deal, but there is no clue of how it would be successful. We know it was different, so it means that it can catch some player differently. I mean, if it plays to people, there is no real concurrent around. So it's like a bet. Yes, but it has been a surprise to get so much response, and especially from other publishers like Interplay that already wanted to sign the deal as soon as possible.
Good.
And so yes, it has been very special, the release of a game, because I was absolutely exhausted.
I bet you were.
and once it has been released on Amiga, I had to work on the console version straight away. So that was the whole development has been like a marathon.
Yes.
And it's not a sprint; it's really a marathon.
I have to ask, actually, Eric, because this game is you. It's all you. You made everything. Do you think Another World could have been made, maybe at the same sort of time, if it had a huge team involved, or do you think it would have changed beyond recognition?
You mean, does the game would have been different?
Yes. If you had,
Yes, sure. Probably not the same game because of the creation process. The improvisation process needs because every stage is built on the top of the other. Of course, with a team, it would have been different.
Yeah,
and there is some part of a game that emerged because of my personal mind state of loneliness, of the friend in the game, the alien friend, is here probably because I had the desire to have a friend in the game development, but
yes.
So with this guy, really, I'm speaking of Lester, which it's a bit like a mirror of me in front of my computer, being alone, and so it comes progressively. So with a team, it probably would have been very different. Probably the same techniques with Polygon, but the story and the universe would have been an overall an alternate reality. Maybe more interesting.
No.
We never know.
We'll never know for certain, but I have to say, Eric, I agree. Lester's the buddy, alien buddy. I love it. That at the time, I don't remember many video games where you had like a friendly person on your side, and you kind of answered the question already, but you obviously added him in. But you must love that character, yeah? You must love that alien friend character.
Yeah, yes, it's really there's an emotional relationship with this character, definitely.
100%. The intro sequence, the start of the game, it blew me away. I couldn't believe my Amiga could show this kind of amazing science fiction cutscenes. I mean, how? And you shared on Twitter recently how that was filmed. We'll put it in the show notes if we can. I think
Yes.
did you film all the cutscenes kind of like happening and sort of draw over them, sort of code over them?
Only a small part of cutscene has been filmed to rotoscope.
Yes.
Mainly, so the car, the cans.
Yes.
When Lester drink, the footstep, the close-up on the footstep at the beginning. But for example, the lightning and the beast has not been filmed. The black beast, absolutely not. And only Lester walk and run, which is me, indeed.
Ah, really?
Yes.
That's really interesting.
And but for all the other animation, it was just made on the computer.
Yes, it's amazing. Is there a particular cutscene or intro that you like the most out of the whole game?
I like a lot the Black Beast.
Yes.
When the cut with the Black Beast, when it's really a short cut, but it's really like a punctuation. It's just I like it because not only by the sequence itself, but where it is placed in the gameplay.
Yes.
So you have a game, you are in a gameplay, and suddenly you have this, and then you immediately go back to a gameplay. So it's not a cinematic like of several minutes, and you know that it's over. You can just watch. No, it's really a part in the continuity of the gameplay, and in the same way when Lester take the gun in the jail, it's just a small cut that is part which is in the flow of the gameplay. And the other sequence that I like a lot, it is in the introduction, the lightning, the animation of the lightning in the cyclotron, and I like the pacing of this lightning going into the lab.
So, mate, I have to again, Eric. When you pick up that gun for the first time, which I think is in the second level, you can shoot, you can make a shield, or you can do like a power rocket laser. How did you think of those three ideas? Did you think I can? Did it come to you? More than just a normal gun? Was it? I'd love to know.
Okay, so the gun, the laser gun, is a direct influence of Star Wars. But the shield, at the beginning, I wanted the player to be able to hide and from over enemies.
Yes.
But hide in the back of the scene, just go behind a pillar or something like this. But it's a 2D game, so it 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 would demand a lot of effort and special case.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, but why not create our own protection? So I say, okay, why not use the gun and have another mod in the gun? And that's how I got the idea of the shield.
Yeah.
And then once the shield was done, so why not make it? It would be interesting to destroy the shield of the other guard.
Yeah.
And that's it. And the Mega Blast is an influence from Dragon Ball.
Oh, really?
Yes, the Kamehameha is. It is. I was watching this animation on TV at the time, and I really love it. And so I wanted to put this Kamehameha in the gun.
It's brilliant. There's nothing better when you shoot your enemy with that giant laser and you see their bones disintegrate. It's amazing. Was there any sort of gameplay elements or ideas, level ideas, or new weapons or vehicles or whatever that you thought about for Another World but never quite made it into the final game?
I don't remember.
It was. That's all right. It was a while ago. I have to ask, Eric, how would you reflect on Another World? How do you reflect looking back on that game and how it's still today so well respected and talked about?
You mean I'm not sure I understood precisely.
Yeah. So what do you think about? Why do you think Another World was so popular, and why people today are still talking about it?
Okay. So popular at the time or popular today?
Even today, people, it's one of those games that people what can I say? It's really helped. It's kept its name, hasn't it? It's still regarded as such an amazing game.
Maybe because of pacing.
Yeah.
It's a game with a lot of pacing in the action, in the diversity of situation. You have a moment of acceleration, and so this is something that make it special. And
yes. It resonates. Yeah.
And well, I don't know because it really depends of the players, and but I think it is also because from a design point of view, I was always trying to feel the game in the same way as it was something new, and trying to forget myself as a creator, and so really feel it as to get the freshest ace as possible. Of course, it is not possible, but I was really trying to feel emotionally the game I was creating, not just saying, okay, your friend will be there and we say some alien world. Well, when I record the alien world, I was, is it the correct feeling? Yes, no, yes. So and that was the same for every aspect into the game. But one thing was really missing at the beginning. It was playtest, and so if you take the Amiga version and you compare this version with the game today, a lot of things, little details has been improved too. So Another World has a lot of flow, and it's a difficult game, but many many things has been changed when the game has been ported to console with Interplay. We had a lot of tests, and so we improved the game, and then later again, and for the reissue, they get more polish on some aspect. So maybe it is also because it has been this game has been alive.
Yes.
For me, it's not a game. I have some game that are okay. I did this game in '87, but yes, it's a game for the Éric, and okay. But this game was still living.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, not many No, I agree. Not many games can say that. Not many games. There's people want to come back and new versions and new ports. I've got it on the Jaguar, Eric. I've completed it.
Oh yes, you got one of the few.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful port, by the way. I love it.
Yes, the developers did a crazy work. I don't know how they did this on this
amazing
computer.
Amazing
console.
It's a great port actually. I have to ask, I don't like Heart of the Alien, the sequel. I'm sorry. I've tried it. I don't know if you've played it, the Mega CD game.
Okay, we are two, at least.
Are you not a fan? What happened? Were you not given any sort of control over this?
I had, but not. I can tell. I did some. I gave some direction, but the team was in LA and I was in France, and I was working on Heart of Darkness.
Yes.
So it's difficult to drive people to go exactly in the correct direction. Yeah. So I was a bit far from this game, I think, because I love the concept of redo the adventure from the point of view of the buddy.
Yes.
But the making, something was missing in the making, and there was no polygon at all in this game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For all the animation, and it was bitmap, I think, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's like that.
Thank you. It doesn't for me at least feel quite like Another World. Would you ever, Eric, consider making a sequel, your own sequel, Another World 2, or do you think you would never go back to that sort of Lester and his story?
I prefer. I'm not giving an answer because for now I don't feel the desire to do it.
Yep.
Or to bring something to this world. If I got a nice idea, and maybe yes, but yes. Not for now.
No, that's fair enough. Thank you. Appreciate the answer. I recently played Aiko Fumito Ueda.
Yes.
And he's very talented. And many big game developers, including Fumito, of course, they've said in different interviews that your work on Another World and other games has helped inspire them. How does that feel? That so many other famous people, developers are inspired by your work.
Yeah, that's crazy because I would never imagine this. When I create the game, but it would have such influence, and it's very honorific for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I have. Well, I think every all creators are influenced by other creator, and I love his game, and I know that Sword and Sorcery has been influenced by another world, but the universe of Sword and Sorcery
Yes.
influenced me too in some way, I'm sure. Or
Yeah, I get that. So you were inspired and you helped inspire other people. Very impressive. Very impressive. Just quickly on Heart of Darkness, another amazing game. What was your initial inspiration for this particular game, and was it was it completely different sort of working on this game compared to Another World? So Heart of Darkness.
So first, this game is a teamwork.
Yeah.
So it's a game we create with 5 key fondator, and so there is the personality of these people in the game, and the idea was to create a game in the continuity of Another World, a 2D game, and with cinematics. But we decided to go on 3D because that was the big change at that time. Everything was using computer graphics. That was an interesting new way to create pictures. So sorry, I missed something.
It's all right.
Your question?
Yeah.
was,
So, what inspired you to make this game? And
yes.
was it? Yeah.
So the idea was to create a game more on the Disney side. Like there was a movie named Rescue World Down Under.
Yes.
That has a really great animation, and I think this. So that was an influence, and all the kind of Spielberg movie, and but
Right.
well, that's and after sorry.
That's all right. Eric, that's a good answer. Yeah.
I'm drinking some water.
That's all right.
So we wanted to put the level higher on the cinematic aspect. That was an important point, and doing a kind of computer graphics with natural stuff. And at that time, it was mainly science fiction, really called computer graphics, which was the easy way to do computer graphics at the time, because we have really few polygons, few memory, and so we go absolutely on the other side by doing natural world with forest, and so that was a crazy project. And but in the end, it is a part of its uniqueness.
Yeah.
So, and it takes a lot of time to create. So much time.
It's a great game. Is it true that it almost was never completed? I think Virgin dropped their funding, and was it close to not being made in the end, or was it always going to be made?
The game at a point was almost dead.
Yeah.
And Virgin was supporting us since almost 4 years.
Yeah.
But, well, Virgin Interactive Entertainment was a big company, had in US, in Europe, in Japan. It was already big. And So the US start to don't believe they doubt about our ability to finish the game, and Virgin also start to have some financial issue. So these two factors make them lead them to the decision to say, okay, we will not give more money to the game, and if you want, you can find another publisher to buy the game and to continue to produce the game. But we have really few time. And the crazy thing is that there was this loss of trust, but the game was almost finished.
Oh.
So we go to other publisher with a game that was almost finished. So the risk for the other publisher was really low. So it has been a very special time, because Virgin want to leave, and but in a way that was we always had a very good relationship with them. So that was sad, but in the end it has been also a chance, because we got a publisher that was 100% behind us, and Infogram support the game and the launch of the game as I probably never had such support from any publisher before. They put the same amount of money as the development itself.
Wow!
And so that was good for us.
No, good. Do you think, I've got to ask, because there's a lot of fans of Heart of Darkness, they'd love to see a sequel, so I need to ask Eric, would you ever consider a sequel, or are you gonna, I understand if you can't answer?
Probably not. I'm not a sequel guy, indeed.
Yes. No, that's fair. Have you ever made a sequel, actually? I don't think you have you, to a game?
No.
Personally?
No, never.
Yeah. I've got to ask, so do you take a bit of a career break after Heart of Darkness? Did you go traveling for a bit?
Yes, but that was really, it has been so exhausting development, and without any break from between Another World and Heart of Darkness. So it was almost 9 years in a row, and so a break was necessary. And the industry was changing. It was really being an industry, and before it was less. It was really indie before.
Yeah.
And so I was not in phases. I was not matching the mood of the game industry. So, because I need some rest, that was the time to take a step back.
Oh, good. And recharge the batteries and see the world. Do you go traveling for that time, or did you spend time with the family? Or
I spend a lot of time traveling.
Good, yeah.
And especially in wide and wild space, like desert or volcanoes.
Yes.
And so really something where you're really connected to the earth, the geology, that's all really where you can breathe.
Eric, did that inspire From Dust then, the kind of volcanoes, the kind of open land?
Yeah, right? Definitely. Without these trips from dust would never happen. And especially the active volcanoes, because I went to not only on volcanoes but on active volcanoes to see the lava flow and these kind of things.
That's really interesting. I bet that was fun. It was a bit scary, maybe, or
scary. Really, it is really impressive because you really feel the power and something that goes behind the scope of any kind of power we can feel, except the sea. When you're on the coast and we have this big wave that are hitting a coast, you can feel the vibration on the ground.
Yes.
And so there is this kind of feeling on volcanoes. And so I went there with a guide.
Yeah.
And then later I went on my own, and so I chose not to don't get too close, but and I met some friends on volcanoes too.
Wow.
So.
Really?
Yeah, that was an amazing.
That does sound amazing.
Part of my life, yes.
Did you see any volcanoes erupt? Any sort of lava or anything, or you just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I was crazy enough to have my bag getting ready and pack, just so that when it starts to erupt, I have just to take a plane ticket and take my bag.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But I did not. I would not do this for any volcanoes. I did it for a volcanoes which is on a Reunion Island, and because some volcanoes are really dangerous, so
of course,
to be really, really careful and stay far.
That's amazing. I love how it inspired your games as well in the future. Absolutely incredible. Eric, I've got to ask about Paper Beast. I've looked at the trailer. It looks incredible. What can you tell our listeners about this game? What can they expect? I mean, it's a virtual reality, isn't it?
Yes, it's made for the PSVR, and so the game has been created for this kind of immersion. And there is the same kind of philosophy of development, like behind Another World, where it's more like an improvisation process to create the game and it's like a blend between Another World and From Dust, because in this game there is a lot of simulation, terrain simulation, physics for the creature, the animals, because it's really a wide natural world, a crazy world, at the same time majestic and totally and sometimes psychedelic or crazy. Yes, it's and so you are immersed in this universe and you don't know what is going to happen next, and so there's a lot of surprise into this game, and so it's an exploration game, and you will meet an ecosystem and help this ecosystem to survive or to migrate.
Yeah.
But there is a strange pressure into this world, because this world born out of the data in the internet. It's an artificial world that emerge. It's a wildlife that emerge and that is known from no one inside or internet data. So it's crazy. It looks natural, but it's crazy. You have punk music, you have ambient music, you have letter that goes out of the sky. So it's really almost an hallucinatory game. that is renewing with the nature. It's a big connection with the nature.
Yeah.
With all nature in a way. So yeah, it's going to stop.
It looks amazing. It looks like origami, doesn't it? The kind of beasts. It looks like paper origami. Are they good or bad? Is there some good beasts, bad beasts? It looks incredible.
It's more. It's like nature. There is no bad beasts. There is predator. So they eat other creature, but these creatures are not bad.
Yeah.
So it's quite neutral.
I get that. No, is it a PS4 exclusive, or will it be available on other consoles? Or
it's probably in the future, but it's not. It's not precisely decide.
Where it's going to come. Is it? When do you hope to release it? Do you have any ideas, or is it? It's still working.
It has been released.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. On almost 2 months ago.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry.
No problem.
It does look stunning. I want to check it out. Definitely.
Yes. It's really. It's a game that you need to play it to understand this game.
To understand.
And yes, and this game didn't get any editorial pressure. It's really a game that is emotionally really powerful as I wanted it to be. So there is, I think, we take some risk because it's very original. And so because it is original, it is from the outside, it's more difficult to understand what is the game. And it's exactly what I was saying before for Another World. Would it work or not? It's original. And we don't know because people have to be receptive to it. And that's Paper Beast is probably the most risky game I made. With Another World. So I hope it will work, and it's really it's a game I'm really
very proud of.
Proud of. Yes.
Good on you, Eric. Is there any other games you're working on, or is it all very quiet? I suppose you can't really tell us.
Not for now, because we just finished Paper Beast. So
of course. Good. Eric, look, appreciate your answers. So interesting. This is a tough question, actually. If you were transported into any of your video games and you could live there for one day, which game would you choose and why? Would you want to be in another Lester's shoes in another world, for example?
Well, we die a lot in another world, so I'm not sure I wanted to be there. I would say probably Paper Beast. Paper Beast,
yeah,
because it's so surreal and
good answer. Yeah. Is there any video games you ever started working on but you never completed? I mean, I hate to sound rude, Eric. You've worked on some real classics, but only a few, haven't you? It's not like you churn out games every year. You've worked very carefully to make the best you can, I guess. But was there any games you started work on but you sort of cancelled soon after?
Yes, not recently, but a long time ago. That was probably in 86. So I wanted to create a game, to create game. I mean, the concept was you have an arcade machine, and you have some sliders. So you we have a slider for more fantasy, more science fiction, more shooter, and you push the button and it creates a game with depending on the parameter you enter.
Yep.
And but that's a crazy project, and I worked on it during maybe 6 months, and say, oh no, but I can't. It's not possible. It's too complicated, and so I stopped the project.
It does sound really ambitious.
Yes.
It does sound really. I mean, that could be something to think about maybe in the future. There you go. Obviously, Eric, you play games, I take it. Have you got any personal 3 favorite games of all time that you can obviously make?
Yes. There's one game I love a lot is Katamari Damacy.
Oh my words, that is a great game. I love that game. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's so fun, isn't it?
Yes, and the game mechanics is just amazingly simple and amazingly clever and amazingly full of meaning. So that's just a beautiful piece of gaming. And the other game, well, I really love Inside, for the universe it creates and the amazing feeling it gives. And have also it's only 3 game or.
Yeah, one more if that's all right. Yeah. Sorry, I know it's a tough choice.
Yeah, okay.
It is tough.
I'm going to choose a game that no one knows. It's a Defender clone. It's a game named.
Is that unknown? Yeah.
Yes, it's on the Amiga.
Oh, is it?
It's on the Amiga, and it's a game like Defender, and so you have your spaceship and you explode the unit. It's a fast-scrolling game, but yes, I have a name, Datastorm.
Datastorm. Okay, there you go.
Datastorm. and this game has really a big alien ship like squid, but made of metal. And it's really a fast-pacing game, and it's almost unknown. And I went in the shop, I see the box, I look at the photo on the back, and I see, wow, it's a Defender. I love Defender.
Yeah.
And there was this just all this ship that looks crazy. And then when I play at home, I say, wow, they did the perfect. Defender clone, and so yes, this game deserves to be known.
Oh, there you go, Datastorm. I've actually spoken to Eugene Jarvis, Eric, the man that made Defender. What a legend!
Yes, I would love to.
He's a great guy. He's very funny. Honestly, Eric, I've really enjoyed our chat. It's been so amazing. Again, I know, it's not particularly great journalism, but I want to say thank you for making one of my favorite games of all time.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing, and I still play it today. I played the Jag version recently, like I told you, and it holds up. It's so amazing. I'd love to see the continuation, but I understand if you don't want to do that. I've got one more final question, bit of a funny question. If you could share a few drinks with any character from a video game, who would you choose and why? Would it be Lester?
Lester? No. Probably of my game or any game?
Any game, any video game ever made, yeah. Most people, when I ask Eric, say Lara Croft.
No, that's easy.
Yeah.
But
that's the obvious.
Probably Probably Pac-Man, yes, and I would go with Pac-Man.
Why not?
Somewhere, but I would love to get a drink with Pac-Man in a supermarket somewhere.
Oh wow!
So that Pac-Man can eat everything, all the food in the supermarket, like in the game. So it would be super fun.
That would be so funny. He can eat a lot, can't he, old Pac-Man? Yeah. Oh, Eric, look, like I said, really is an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real honor. Good luck with your future projects.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get in touch regarding this week's episode or anything else, you can tweet us at Arcade Attack UK, at Keith Barlow 82, and at Arcade_Adriano. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/arcadeattackuk. Please check out our website at arcadeattack.co.uk for lots of retro gaming goodness, interviews, reviews, features, top 10s, etc. And you can also find all our previous podcasts